The competitive landscape is quite significant, but I would like to focus right now on the right-hand side, which consists of PayEpo, Sycamore, and also Lydia. But we've created a niche for ourselves with our unique solution credit framework, which has been tested and it has worked across 20 African countries, and our expertise that we bring to the table, working with retailers to be able to achieve great speed and scale. We've worked with these retailers over the last few years, helping them first to achieve access to market, and today we're giving them access to finance, which will help them stay in business and continue to create jobs for our community. Apart from that, we've also created a niche by focusing on the retail and supply chain where we know how to play best. Today, we've supported and successfully disbursed to over 500 retailers, a total of $320,000 and we've achieved 0 NPS because our system works. We also have the opportunity with 6 strategic partnerships that we've signed to be able to serve over 150,000 retailers as of today. The team that makes it happen. Myself, I have experience working with Stanbic IBTC, both at asset management, wealth management level, as well as also the bank, where I actually led various changes, the automation of the direct debit across the various industries, and also managed the automation and linkage with various stakeholders across industries. My co-founder, Shina, actually also piloted and was part of those that led to the first credit product that was launched in Ghana and replicated across 20 African countries by the UBA group. Our technical CTO, he actually has an accounting background, but shortly after college, he actually moved into full stack engineering. He has been celebrated both at state and international levels for his contributions towards using technology to actually uplift the lives of his community in Osun State, Nigeria. We also have a team of advisors, inclusive of the LabEight team, who have supported us to achieve great milestones today. Mr. Ahis is actually the Chief Investment Officer for Shell. He has contributed both in funds and also strategic engagements with us to be able to achieve this goal. We also have Mr. Ndubisi Ekwere, who is also joining us from Tekidia Capital. Today, we're inviting you to join us on this journey with a $1 million at a 2.5 million pre-money valuation. These funds will help us to be able to support more retailers, more small businesses to stay in business and achieve great feat. We would use these funds to achieve our national license, also to improve on our talent, growth, and technology, and also a reserve for us to be able to achieve various credit pipelines for disbursement. We also have an option of $1.5 million, which also comes with an interest of 18% per annum. What does the future look like? We believe with this funding, we would actually be able to have and hit a record of 10,000 retailers in monthly disbursement by Q2. We would also be ending the year with over $650,000 in revenue. And by 2023, we would actually be achieving a feat of $10 million monthly disbursement by Q3 and end the year with about $5.4 million in revenue. Together, we can actually eradicate poverty. You can use your funds to not just get returns, but also support the retailers who are actually supporting and creating jobs for our communities. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you, Adeshina. So now we'll head into the Q&A. We do have a couple of questions coming in from the chat. So the first question is, do you have a license in Nigeria? And if not, at which point will you need a microfinance license?
So should I go ahead?
Yeah, for sure.
So the beauty of it is that the space is very sweet, and it's also very, very robust. So we actually have been able to secure the Lagos State lending license, which gives us the ability as a tech company to still serve the people where we are currently focused on. But we understand the fact that with the level at which we want to scale and the numbers that we want to achieve, we need to actually go for the national license. So even as of now, we actually covered to operate fully.
Perfect. Next question is, how are you financing the business currently? Are you using a revolving credit facility, a syndicate financing, or a combination of both?
So we we've actually been able to achieve, the numbers that we've achieved because we have great people, first from the LabEight team and also from our investors and also advisors that you see here. Most of them have actually, gone out of their ways to make introductions, credible introductions to those within their networks because they trust us. They've put in their funds in, and they've also, created various debt pipelines for us to be able to circle in, as of today. But right now, we're actually looking at also taking it a step further to engage, various financial institutions and various other bodies who are also lining up for us to actually key into their pool of funds. We just need to close up this equity, which will then give us, automatic activation of these funds.
Perfect. Next question is, are you handling physical cash or is everything done online through a portal?
We actually, are driving a cashless policy in Nigeria. I don't know where that question is, but in Nigeria, we're actually actively, government and also every stakeholder is actively driving cashless policy. So we actually do not disburse cash. We disburse straight into the bank account. There's also the possibility in our next product milestone for us to have wallet, as well as also when we have the finance house license, where we have accounts, where we could actually disburse and it would actually, be tied to us, to be able to manage how they use the funds among several other things.
Perfect. Next question. How is the impact or was the impact of the lockdown due to the pandemic managed in respect to the credit sourcing and default risks?
Okay, I would have loved to share a video if I have the opportunity. That would actually answer that question. Do I?
No, time for that, sorry.
Okay, so we have a lot of people who have benefited from this. Like I said, we've been able to support 500 in terms of disbursement, and that is actually repeated, and that has helped them to stay in business from the fish supplier to a lot of them like that who have benefited. But still, with our solution and our unique credit framework, we've been able to actually achieve 0% NPL.
Perfect. Next question. How are you ensuring that the interest rate you're charging isn't hampering the operating margins for the businesses?
Okay. I would like to say that, our current rate is actually like the lowest or relatively among the lowest within the market as of today. People charge as high as 30%. Some actually, in fact, our closest competitors on the competitive landscape actually charge 6%, compared to our 5% at the moment.
Next question. What is the default rate like and what are the recovery strategies for those?
So at the moment, we have a 0% non-performing loan. What it means is that nobody has defaulted. We've also not had any reason for us to go to try to recover funds because all our people are actually able to repay. But let me just put a bit of context to why we're able to do this. The partnerships helps us not to lend to anybody who is not able to meet 50%, of their capacity. We actually focus more on capacity and character. That is very key to us. So we actually make sure that 50% of their monthly turnover is what we give out. But not just that, the structured market are associations where they have leaders who always want all their other members to get this fund. So it's very hard for any of their members to default because indirectly it's going to affect others.
Perfect. Looks like there are no more questions, but if you guys have any other questions, just email us. Oh, actually, one just came in. Do you plan on securitizing your notes once you scale?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Sorry, the question was, do you plan on securitizing your notes once you scale?
Not sure I got that.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so the question is asking, do you plan on securitizing your loans, your notes, once you scale and grow your business?
Yeah, definitely. Let me help with that.
Yeah, sure.
Definitely. Yeah, it's something we have in the pipeline. We've had discussions with some financial institutions, yeah, to give it a debt instrument.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, once we reach certain milestones.
And one more question from Mark. The $1 million you're asking for seems to be development heavy. So can you give an indication as to where you are in the life cycle?
We
other
actually
products?
have a functional, fully functional web app that allows people to be able to, make requests and get disbursements and also return the funds safely back to us at the moment. So it's fully functional at the moment.
I'll give a couple of seconds for any other questions. Okay, seems like we're done. So thank you, TradeLenda team. And everyone else, if you have questions, just email the LabEight team and we'll get back to you. Thank you, guys. So our next startup is SolarFi.
As yet, is it potentially possible?
Sorry. Yeah, so our next startup is SolarFi. So SolarFi provides simple and cost-effective solar routers that provide prepaid internet access and lighting for businesses, schools, and individuals. So SolarFi team, whenever you're ready.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for your time, to the panel, to the investors, and everybody from around the world. I appreciate your time. Louisa is a remote village in the middle of Congo, abandoned, without service, and most definitely without electricity. In that remote place, you'll find my late grandmother, the woman who I couldn't communicate with, that gave me this innate requirement to communicate with her in the forgotten area. This right here is an electricity internet map. If you pay careful attention, you'll notice that where there's yellow, almost white, electricity and internet is available. And when there's blue, almost black, there's no internet or electricity at all. 700 million people are still living without electricity today in sub-Saharan Africa, and nearly 800 million people are not connected to the internet today. COVID-19 has spurred massive changes in how the world works, learns, and does business. Changes made possible by internet and digital infrastructure. However, without power, there is no internet at all. We bring you SolarFi, which is light and data, or nuru na data that is said in Swahili, for educational institutions, businesses, schools, and individuals that have power and internet problems. We offer simple, cost-efficient solar routers that provide prepaid internet access, prepaid charging services, and prepaid lighting. And mind you, it is non-provisionally patented as well. In South Africa, at no cost, we've provided connectivity to over 30,000 users. And here are some of our valued users on the right here. We've developed MVP software for carbon credit collection, curriculum access, data collection, and pay-go management, partnership with SI UK for SIM card crediting, official Goggle member, official license with Visa and MasterCard, and we are the second place winner of the AU Innovating Education in Africa 2021, granting us a $70,000 grant in December 2021. With a total attainable market size of $274 billion, a SAM of 54.8, and a SOM of $2.74 billion in Kenya alone. The market opportunity starts in Kenya, stretching out to Uganda, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Nigeria, and DRC, and the rest of the emerging markets around the world. But what is SolarFi exactly? SolarFi is a lantern dongle, or a lantern router, as I like to call it. An internet dongle and solar lantern to access the internet and have light. And it's pretty simple. You just put a SIM card inside the device and it broadcasts Wi-Fi for up to 10 devices, connects Wi-Fi for up to 8 hours, gives you lighting functionality for up to 21 hours, and can charge any device. This is our introductory product, but our subsequent products can charge your laptop. The other one comes with Wi-Fi and radio, and we're pretty happy at how far we've come with this. Our business model, our business is cash generative and revenue is derived as follows. Revenue from SolarFi devices, sales of prepaid internet access with value-added services, sales of prepaid lighting, carbon credits, data points, and ad revenue. Our capital expenditure relates mainly to SolarFi devices alone. Our go-to-market is as simple as from the central warehouse to the regional distributions in the coast of Kenya, namely in Machakos and Tharaka-Nithi and Kilifi. From there, it goes to the experience centers, then to the sales agents, and then there's home deliveries in the different regions. Our segmentation focuses on the entry-level customer and the mid to premium customer in a household of less than $150 a month. Also inclusive are MSMEs and multinationals. Our competition, indirect, includes M-Kopa, G-Lite, Sun King, just to name a few. But our indirect competition includes Tenda, Huawei, just to name a few. Our customer proposition is CASE, connectivity, autonomy, convenience, and employment. Our niche is to carve out this market a segment through partnerships and connectivity, allowing for additional products and solutions. With projections of $6 million in the fifth year, with a profit of $3.6 million in that fifth year alone, with expenses as low as $480,000. Our roadmap is simple, starting to launch in Kenya, starting in Machakos, Kilifi, thereafter going into Kwanzaa City to build the plant, then Nigeria, DR Congo, and Ethiopia, to name a few. In order to build a great team, you need a great bunch of people. I myself, I'm Elijah Dubala, the founder and chief executive officer, and as well a Forbes Africa 30 Under 30 2017 alumni, with a Bachelor of Computing and Information Sciences with Business Systems, Applications Development, and Networking from Monash University. On the right is my software architect from the same university, my operations director from UK Metropolitan University, and our account director from Varsity College in South Africa. Some of our board of directors and advisors include our chairman, who's also my father, the former CEO of Airtel Congo, Niger, Gabon, and Vodafone Cameroon. Our advisor who gave us the initial traction, founder and CEO of Zilch, Philip Bellamont, running a $2.5 billion company. John Ndego is the former CEO of Airtel, Burkina Faso, Congo, Brazil, Vodafone, Uganda. And Eric Mboma, who is the current African Chief Externals Officer for Prudential PLC here in Kenya. We're making a request of $150,000. Just to be open with it, we have raised about 135 already, and we're extending the round in order to provide the same facility of 150. With the money, what we'll be doing is 52% on devices, soft launch in one zone, Machakos, creating monitoring tools on hardware and software focus, the core team for initial execution, and creating the right teams for collection tracking. Our purpose is to evolve the way the globe connects, and our vision is to be the leading global distributor of secure solar internet-based products and services within emerging markets. And our mission is to provide solar internet products and services required by the middle and lower tiers of the globe's economic pyramid. At SolarFi, values shape the work we do. Values shape the way we do our work, the projects we pursue, and with our employees, customers, partners, suppliers, and investors. What we strongly believe in is transparency, consistency, integrity, humility, wisdom, and to always, I mean always, make an impact. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Elijah. For people that have just joined us, we're now heading into the Q&A. So you can type your questions to the Q&A section or the main chat. So we have one question coming in. Can you share what your distribution model is?
The distribution model is simple. What we do is we bring in the devices and then actually I have the page just now. I can just show you again, sorry. There it is. So there on the right, it's as simple as we just bring the devices in from the factory in China. Thereafter, it goes to distributors. After the distributors, it goes to the sales agents who get paid on a commission basis. We have three models in terms of it. We have the pay-as-you-go model for those that, in order to keep our cash flow, and that would be a $35 deposit and they pay $1 a day. But then we're also working on our freemium model where we will be charging $7 a month on the device. From that, we would be making money from ad revenue and collecting the data based on the eyes we see from pay-per-clicks and things of that nature. Thank you.
One long question here. So the RECs generated from your microsystems are voluntary, yet still have value. So does your firm maintain the RECs generated from the use of the panels? And have you already established a relationship with a generation attribute tracking system?
I don't think I understand that question.
Yeah, so Frederick, if you want to
question.
Pardon me?
Yeah, if I
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Yeah, Frederick, yeah, go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, Frederick.
Can we take another question while we're doing?
Attribute.
Yeah. Yeah, Frederick, we'll come back to you. We'll just go on to another question. So the next question is that you guys have served 30,000 customers in South Africa. So how much revenue do you have you generated? Pardon me?
We did it at no cost in order to, it was part of our CSR project with Philip Bellamont and the team. When I built the project, I was still in college. So from it was generated about $600,000 through his SIM cards and things of that nature. And then it allowed us to understand the customers, understand our go-to-market strategy a lot better in order to be in the position that we are today. From that learnings, it allowed us to raise more with the different firms that we have raised with. And now we're extending our round because the interest is getting larger and larger. And we're planning to just crash the market and make it at $7 and just get everybody online and build the biggest virtual network in the world. So yeah, thank you.
And how much revenue are you generating per month and per year at the moment?
Hello? Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't hear your question. Please say that again.
How much revenue are you generating per month or per year?
No, right now we're not generating any revenue. Right now we're just focusing on putting out our product the way it is. The main focus this whole time was purely just to make sure that our R&D was correct, because I invented the product. So you still have to do a lot of research and development before you know that the product is ready. So we focused it on in that nature, and we're focusing on our seed right now. And then from there, we're gonna be generating revenues in that matter.
Perfect. Frederick, you can go ahead with your question.
Okay, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, I can, sir.
Okay, great. So your solar facilities generate a renewable energy certificate, and though that's voluntary, what I'm wondering is these microsystems that you have, are you guys retaining the REC?
It's interesting what you've mentioned. I've actually just Googled about the renewable energy certificates that you've mentioned. It's actually my first time hearing about this certificate instrument. So I would be very happy to get on a call with you in order to understand how we could have put that within our revenue model. It's, I'm learning every day with LabEight. So thank you for the question.
Yeah, I'd like to talk to you about that offline, because that's a great revenue model. Like we're in the renewable space, so I know a lot about that, and we do a lot of REC business. That is a huge revenue model for you.
I would love to get into that conversation with you. Please, we can do this offline right after the call. Thank you so much for making the question there.
Another question is, well, I kind of joined these two questions together. What are your unit costs to make the product, and how much do you make out of that unit?
Our focus, well, in the beginning, how we would do it was we would purchase the unit landed in Kenya at 64, and then we would charge the deposit of 35. And then from that deposit, we do $1 a day for 120 days. So that's about $155. And then you do the difference between the 64 and 65. The additional revenue model we're looking now for growth, for exponential growth, is the freemium model, where we will purchase, we've got a commitment from a county in Kenya that's going to purchase 15,000 units that we're just going to distribute for free. And from that, what it allows is to just get as many people on board as much as possible. So our focus right now is chasing valuation to ascertain that the devices are spread out there as much as possible, get as many eyes online as much as possible. And from there, it allows us to start understanding our customer, getting data from these customers, starting to upsell these customers, and seeing what else we can do. That's one domain. We are also looking at the agricultural sector and how we can help with e-agriculture. Same thing with e-health. Because of the illuminated factor we received from the African Union in terms of being education innovators, we started to understand that our device itself can cross through many industries. And we just need to find some stakeholders in order for us to execute that application. Thank you.
Next question. What is the valuation that you're raising at, and how much equity are you giving out?
Right now, we're raising at a $3 million valuation for 5% of 150K. Our goal is to keep it going that way, starting with the small ask, and from that, chasing our evaluation, and then going to Series A with LabEight as soon as possible, hopefully by Q2.
Perfect. A follow-up question from the 30,000 clients. The question is, how are you sustaining the 30,000 clients based in South Africa if you're not generating the revenue at the moment?
Our partnership with Net1 Mobile Solutions, you're happy to Google them. They're a NASDAQ company. They have been sustaining the project and giving us updates on the constant in order for us to know how our hypothesis is going, as I would like to call it. And from that, it has allowed us to grow, make these milestones, be in this position. I'm calling you from Kenya right now. We should be rolling out by March. So it's quite sustained, to answer your question. Osiyabonga from South Africa. How are you, sir?
Awesome. And Frederick, I see your question. I'm going to let you ask that. You're asking some great questions here, but I think it's best if it comes straight from you rather than me reading it off the chat.
Okay, great. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, I can, Fred.
Okay, great. Have you considered at scale doing community solar and pushing a power purchase agreement to the users? So by pushing a power purchase agreement.
21 hours.
Sorry about that. Please go ahead.
No, I said by pushing a power, first of all, have you considered that, going community solar at scale and pushing a power purchase agreement?
Yes, I have actually many times. So my main vision for this company, specifically because the physical infrastructure and I can say the agreements for PPAs in the East African region aren't as regulated as it would be in the US or in Europe of that nature. And the only place I have seen the PPA working without any sort of red tape, well, with some red tape though, is South Africa. So the goal would be, because we are here to disrupt the market, it's also the ability to define the market. So when you come with considerations of that nature, it's for us to bring the product out, make sure it's in as many hands as possible, and then change the narrative in order to contribute to this power sustainability that we're looking for.
I appreciate that. I think that if you do a PPA, if you go into a PPA model with community solar, your excess usage could be sold back to utility grid. And by doing it that way, it would stabilize and help them project their own utility usage, which would then allow them to be more sustainable, which some utilities have a hard time doing in some African regions.
Absolutely, sir. Our focus right now as the beginning is to just distribute them as much as possible. So we stay we want to rent a space in your mind as somebody you can trust to keep your power provision on. So with the opportunity that came with education, it allowed us to see that we can really scale this tremendously by focusing on the kids as our core customer. And then because of focusing on those kids as those core customers, the lifetime value with those customers is tremendous. So we are definitely considering and looking at things that what you're mentioning within our roadmap very, very closely. But our focus, especially right now, is can we get as many devices out there and get these guys online and see how we can put a contributory effect from the online setting and the renewable energy setting for these consumers and businesses and educational institutions alike.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Perfect. I think that's all the time we have for Q&A. So thank you, Elijah, and thank you for everyone for your questions. Again, if you have just joined, if you have any more questions, just email the LabEight team, and we'll make that connection to any founders you're interested in talking to.
Thank you for your time. Thank you, LabEight, again. It was a fantastic cohort. Looking forward to whatever else you have next. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Elijah. All right. Next up, we have AxoCheck. So AxoCheck is an on-demand mobile app solution that allows users to request and schedule home checkups. So they enable people in the diaspora to obtain reliable information on the health of their relatives in Africa. So AxoCheck, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. Give me a second here. Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, and pleasure to be here. Think about a time you received a call about a loved one being hospitalized, or you hear that they are sick. You are probably scared and anxious, to name a few emotions. Well, this is the reality of many African immigrants across the world and Africans that actually live on the continent. At times, it seems like this is a death sentence for many of these family members. This is so because there are many challenges that plague the healthcare system in Africa, from poor primary healthcare infrastructure to crowded hospitals, no medical equipment, no access to home healthcare workers, to name a few. And according to the United Nations, the life expectancy of people in sub-Saharan Africa is 60-year-old, whereas for those that are in Europe and are over 80 years. My name is Kazim Lawal, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of AxoCheck. And I have experienced this anxiety of not knowing and understanding the health status of my loved ones back home. I remember receiving a call from my dad that was rushed to the hospital after passing out on the floor in his living room. This is a man that feels every reason never to go to the hospital, no different than many of our parents and loved ones. During this hospital stay, we incurred more than $10,000 in hospital fees, and he's still not in the best of health after we detected multiple ailments. After this incident, I spoke to a few friends who all shared with me that they had similar concerns and issues. And then we decided to do something about it. We started with surveying over 200 immigrants that lived in Dallas. We also did a survey of 1,000 Nigerians in Nigeria. And the result of this survey was overwhelmingly pushing us towards AxoCheck, which when we created AxoCheck. It was abundantly clear that there's a gap and there's an opportunity. At AxoCheck, we provide health concierge services to Africans in Africa. We do this by taking the needed care to them in its various forms, which could be preventive care, health palliative care, health navigation, primary care, and medication delivery, to name a few. Since we launched our beta app in March, AxoCheck has partnered with multiple insurance tech companies and healthcare providers in developing countries to deliver these services. There are multiple service options that allow clients to best choose the services that fits their need of their loved ones and their budget. All you have to do is to subscribe to the service you require. As an example, if you subscribe for the preventive healthcare services, it'll cost you $25 per visit. Today, there are 3 million African immigrants that live in the US alone. To test our product market fit, we launched AxoCheck to Nigerians in the Dallas, Texas area that wanted concierge services for their loved ones in Nigeria. The feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. According to the International Finance Corporation and World Bank, African healthcare sector is now valued as of 2016 for about 35 billion and tends to increase by the projected CAGR of 6% over the next forecast year of 2017 to 2030. The pharmaceutical space by itself, or the market, is about 19 billion in 2016. And we've seen a huge increase in emerging private healthcare in contributing to the growth of the African healthcare system. Our business model focuses on two sources of scalable and recurrent revenue. One is the service subscription paid by customers, and the second is the 10 to 15% commission paid by provider partners in our beneficiary countries on our platform. In the market today, we have players such as Cherokee and Clafia, to name a few. They're doing very, very good work. However, we have differentiated ourselves along a few key attributes. The first piece is we leverage resources that are more scalable and underutilized, such as nurses, community health workers, support care workers. We have pricing clarity, and we have also adapted this whole process around a very robust digital experience. The team that's working on this project have over 100 years in product development and delivery and design, operational experience, healthcare management and technology. And I, Kazim, I'm an immigrant myself from Nigeria that has lived in the US for over 20 years with expertise in product development and commercialization of products. Since joining LabEight, we are post revenue of $800 monthly recurrent revenue. We've signed 2 partnership agreements. We've done a media blitz. And we also I've also done 400 client visits. We've done onboarded 300 nurses and also done over 121 hours of training for these nurses. We're asking for $150,000 on a safe. This will be used to grow. This will be used to grow our reach and continue to improve and adapt our technology, scale business development, and enhance our operations. As we continue to transform the lives of hardworking immigrants and also citizens on the continent, we are rapidly gaining trust and credibility with our existing and potential customers. And we'll be looking forward to you coming on the journey with us. Thank you, and please let me know if you have any questions.
Thank you, Kazim. We'll head into the 10-minute Q&A section. So please type in your questions in the Q&A box below or the main chat.
Kazim, while we're waiting for the questions to come in, man, can you just speak a little bit to what your strategic partners customer acquisition looks like? You talked a little bit about kind of the direct sales channel, but can you speak to the partnerships and how that'll help you exponentially grow?
Excellent. I think Tunde is on the call here, and I know he wanted to take that question. Tunde, are you there to take it, or I can go ahead?
Go ahead, Kazim.
Yeah, so we have a few things that we're working on. The first one is the strategic partnership, as you mentioned, Jason. We know that Africans congregate in specific places, such as churches, mosques, and we know that Africans also congregate in what you will call African stores. So we have a few African stores that we're partnering with right now, where we have our banners, and we're also having conversations there and provide incentive back to those stores for talking about the product and selling the product to our clients. We've been also going out to churches and mosques and having symposiums and having discussions about what we're delivering out to the marketplace, and we're getting a lot of great feedback and referrals through those channels.
Thanks, Kazim. And what about strategic partners in the healthcare space, like potential,
Yes.
Go ahead.
We've signed a few strategic partners with a few insurance tech companies who are actually selling insurance in Nigeria and saying, as a part of the value proposition that they're offering to their clients, then being able to have that delivery or a different way of delivering healthcare in the comfort of their home has really changed the conversation for these insurance companies and also for us. We're hearing a lot of great feedback that people don't want to drive 2-3 hours to the hospital, spend another 2-3 hours waiting. You go there with a headache, you come back with a headache and diarrhea, right? How can I get that service in the comfort of my home, where you come and meet me there, you take care of my needs, and you provide our medical record, and you take care of all of their needs in the home? That we've been seeing a really, really good feedback on that.
Perfect. Questions coming in from the chat asks, how long has GiroCare, not sure if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but one of your competitors, how long have they been operating, and what is stopping them from adding more nurses to outperform you guys? And
Great question. GiroCare has been in business for about 4 years now, based on what is in the public space. The answer is very simple. Being able to train and leverage nurses is not as simple as it is. What we've been able to do is to work with the National Midwives Organization and all the cohorts across Nigeria to have nurses strategically located, train them, and also get out for them to deliver. GiroCare, what they do today is they use doctors. We don't think that is a scalable process. And in fact, they've reached out to us to come and partner with them in delivering some of this care in the comfort of homes as well.
Awesome. And the second question is, you started operating in March of 2021 with 400 visits. So what is your current revenue model at the moment?
Current revenue model? Okay, so we started with our beta app, and we wanted to control the experience because we wanted to learn. This is healthcare. We wanted to make sure we're treating it really, really delicately by going out and doing the necessary pilots to learn from it. So right now, we're bringing in about $800 in recurrent revenue every single month. We want to be able to scale over the next 5 years to about 2.1 million, which will be about 40,000 clients on the platform.
Awesome. And a follow-up question coming in from Q&A is, how have you been financing your operations to date? Is it purely from revenue or from other sources?
Great question. So we raised some funds from friends and family, and we've been bootstrapping thus far, right? The founders have been bootstrapping and bringing this process going forward.
All right. The next question is a clarifying one for your business model. So they're just clarifying how it works. So the revenue for the client paying side is a one-off payment for each consultation, or is it more long-term, more frequent checkups?
Yeah, so it depends, right? So for example, if you wanted a preventive healthcare, let's assume Kazim lives in the US and he has a father or mom in Nigeria. And what we've seen is that they would sign up for 4 checkups every quarter. So one checkup is $25 times 4, that's $100. We have another use case that I can give you where we had a family that reached out to us in Nigeria and said, hey, we have our mom and dad that live together. They're not in best of shapes. They've not been in the hospital in a long time. We are so busy. We can't take them to the hospital. What can you do? So what we did is we activated our healthcare navigation team. They reached out to the family. We coordinated the experience with the hospital. We went to the home of the father and mom, took them to the hospital, did all of the checks. They went to the different hospital for the checks. We took them back home, made sure that they're in good health. We also, in that experience as well, they wanted a support care worker who actually visits the father and mom every 3 times a week to provide healthcare support for them. That also includes the preventive healthcare. It also includes medication delivery for the parents. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. In that experience alone, that was about $550 worth of revenue for the company.
Next question asks, what security measures do you have on your product? And do you have vulnerability checks?
Yeah, so a couple of things that we've done. We try to model the app to some of the app features to the HIPAA laws in the US. So I'll give a real life example. So if our nurse gets to the home of the client, the first thing they're going to say is that I was sent to you by Jason, as an example. Jason sent me to you. Do you know who Jason is? Yes, I do know who Jason is. Can you kindly sign over here that you want us to proceed with the process? And the next question would be, would you want us to share your medical record with Jason? The client can say yes or no. Then you kind of attest to that. Then you release the information. The second piece is that we have security features into the application, such as the community health worker, the nurse, cannot see the data post when they hit submit on their application on their phone where they send out the medical records. I, as the CEO, I don't have access to the data as well, right? So we anonymize the data on the back end just to continue to make sure that we have the right protections of our clients' medical records.
And just to add on to that, how do you manage quality control in the
Great
process?
question. So we do a couple of quality checks. One, a phone call goes out to the parent through the centralized team to ask how was the experience, what happened, do you have any concerns, do you have any issues? Number 2 is that we do a very robust training. I mentioned earlier that we have done over 120 hours of training. Part of this training includes a customer care training. Example, we tell them, you cannot go to Mr. Jason's house and have lunch. You cannot go to Ahmed's house and take a tip. That's not part of the work. We also send a survey to the sponsor, be it yourself, be it you're doing on behalf of someone, and we send a quality survey to them and they provide us feedback. We take all of that aggregated feedback, we provide that to the client, to the nurse or the worker that goes out to help the client and ensure that we continue to have the right experience in place.
Awesome. Next question asks, what is your skill mix ratio? So specifically doctors to nurses ratio.
Right now, our main goal is to use nurses in the field, right? We have 2 doctors on the back end and they are virtually. So when you go to the house and a nurse goes there or community health worker, let's assume we go to the house as a preventive healthcare visit. When you get there, you complete the whole experience. What happens is that the client gets a call into the doctor who looks at the panel of all of that experience and provides consultation to the client. At the time, if there's a need for them to have medication or prescribe medication, they'll prescribe medication. Then we work with our third-party organization to deliver the medication to them. So the idea is to use the nurses, the community health workers, and all those allied support workers. As you all know, in Africa, we have a lot of our doctors, unfortunately, going to greener pastures. So we believe that the nurses, the community health workers, are the folks that can truly be scaled to deliver this healthcare in a different format.
Awesome. One more question. What are the things that need to be considered when you expand into new markets in other countries?
So a few things that needs to be considered. One, we need to consider regulations, the regulatory landscape. We need to consider the availability of the resources that are needed. On the second part, we know that there's abundance of the nurses and the community healthcare workers. In fact, we believe that they are underutilized in Africa as it is today. So regulation, We also need to consider, the formation of the companies out there, the impacts of technology in terms of the specifics of those specific areas. Those would be 4 things that we are very, very aware of, and as we think about going to Ghana in the second half of the year.
And just to add on to that, have you thought about the logistics of travel when you cover such a large geographic coverage, large geography, and just the time scales of bookings?
Yeah, so good. Another good question. So what we've done is that we've used an Uber-esque type of approach, right? So for example, Kazim Lawal lives in Lagos, right? So the idea is that we would identify nurses in Lagos to take care of the Lagos traffic. If you live in Enugu, as an example, we'll identify nurses and community care health workers in Enugu to take care of traffic there. So these community health workers and nurses are actually working in their communities. They are very familiar of the area, so they can just take 1 bus, 2 buses over there. But I also tell you that what we've also been exploring is a partnership with either Uber or one of these companies, one of these companies in Nigeria, where we can partner with them to the extent that when a nurse needs to go to a location, they can call a line, bring them in, right? Pick them up, drop them there. It will help with security, helps with awareness, and also helps with the experience as well. So we have some active conversations that we're having today in Nigeria.
Awesome. And just one final question, just because we're running out of time here. Who manages the titration of medication?
Who manages the what?
The titration, just I guess the chemical process, or just processing of medication.
So it depends, right? So not that it depends, right? So we work with a third-party organization that we go to and say, hey, we went to visit Scott. Scott needs this medication. Our doctor has prescribed it, go on, deliver. In the event that we need to go out into the home and probably give them drips or whatnot, that happens to the registered nurses. These are all registered nurses that we've verified, that are gone to school, they have the right certification, they have no litigation issues whatsoever with them, and they also work in partnership with the doctor that have prescribed the care plan or prescribed the medication.
Awesome. We have time for one more quick question. Can you explain how medical insurance works in regards to the consultants of the business?
So we don't sell medical insurance. However, we have health tech organization that actually sell insurance that come to us and say, hey, I have Mark, who is one of our enrollees. They have this such and such opportunity. Can you please go out and visit them? And they give us their write-up. We go in there, we do an assessment initially. After the assessment, then we do a care plan. We work with our doctors to do a care plan. We work with the insurance tech in terms of what it will take. There's some conversations that happen there. Then we deliver the care plan, 2 months, 3 months, whatever term that is needed to deliver the care plan for the client.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much, AxoCheck team. Again, if you guys have outstanding questions, just email the LabEight team and we'll forward them to the founders. All right. So for our last company, Araka will be presenting. So Araka allows users to lease motorcycles on a pay-as-you-go basis and provides value-adding services such as loans, insurance, and repairs. So the Araka team, whenever you're ready.
Thank you. So 2 years ago, 3 young people walked into our commodity trading office and they're looking for a loan from us to give them motorcycles. And they were promising that they'll pay us daily for a period of 2 years. Their challenge then was they were tired of renting the motorcycles and they didn't have the capital to buy these motorcycles offhand. These motorcycles are called border borders. So we went ahead, we gave them the loan, and then they referred other friends and we kept giving them that, and then we started learning about the industry. And we learned that there are up to 3.8 million riders in East Africa and 1.4 million in Kenya alone. And they are the ones that are in charge of doing up to 70% of public transportation and 95% of last mile deliveries in logistics. And they are then the greatest source of employment for young people, 3.8 million jobs. But on the other side, they're also taking up to care of 5 family members each rider. However, only 7 out of 10 of them own these motorcycles. And so we decided, why not give them this business so that they can own their motorcycle, and then they get a path to ownership. They start acquiring assets, accumulating assets, generating wealth, and being financially included. And we earn $1.62 per every motorcycle per day. And we earn that through a monthly interest rate of 3%, annual rate of 36% per annum for 2 years. And we've had traction. We started with 2. We are now at 55 motorcycles. We've built our technology. We built our team. We have a client waiting list of up to 10,000 applicants. We've established strong partnerships with insurance companies. And we are part of the prestigious LabEight accelerator. And we have proven the business model. And actually 4 of the first people who came to us now own their motorcycles. Our competitors, our main competitor is the landlord. These are individuals who purchase the motorcycle and then they give them to young people to rent, paying $4 to $5 per day with no path to ownership and hence no dignity at work. But we've also learned something about our other competitors, the leasing companies. They own 15% of the market, but last year alone, they raised $50 million just between 3 competitors. So investors have an appetite for a business. It is a proven business model. The market is very big. The gap in East Africa alone is 6.3 million units, and we are just targeting just 2% of that within the next 5 years. The daily customer value is $1.62. The customer lifetime is 624 days, and the customer lifetime value is $1,011. The way we acquire this customer is by going to the associations. All of them are in these groups or stages, but now we've also been approached by Glovo, and that has opened another marketing for us by offering 3PL, third-party logistics management. However, they should not just be in a group, but also they must have a 3-month earning statement. We can check that easily by looking at their Uber statements, their Bolt statements, or their mobile money. And then they must have 2 guarantors, 2 recommenders. Then you have to fit a tracking device on the motorcycle, and then we take a comprehensive life cover on the motorcycle, but also we offer a credit life on the loan so as to guarantee and secure the investment. Our goal right now for this quarter is to break even by acquiring 500 units, and to do that we are raising $935,000 at a pre-money price of $3.75 million. That's 20% of equity, or debt or convertible note at 24% per annum. This will allow us to get the units and break even. And then after that, in the second quarter, our growth trajectory is going to be to solve the 3 other main problems that they face. And one of them is access to low-cost buy now, pay later consumer credit. So we're going to offer them that at 10% a month as opposed to the 30% a month in the industry. And then you're also going to offer the mobility and logistics connection jobs, but at 5% commission for connection as opposed to the 15% in the market. And then you're also going to offer them value-added services. We're already talking to Total, Vivo, and Ruby Synergy to offer them discounted fuel. We're also talking to the National Health Insurance Corporations so that we can offer them that premium for health insurance so that they are safe when they're doing their job. And then we're also going to add electric bikes in the platform and also start securitizing the assets that we shall have gotten through this fundraise in order to reduce the cost of financing and enhance our reach. Now, with this new second phase of growth, we are going to increase our revenue per day per rider from $1.62 to $2.64, but also increase the savings that the rider makes 2x from $1.2 to $2.64. And the team running this is my friend Kato Drake, in charge of technical. He owns his own company and he has 7 years experience in IT. And my colleague Caroline, in charge of distribution. She also owns her own company and has experience in sales and purchasing. And myself, 3X founder, I own a hospital and a banking agency business. And I am trained as a lawyer. I'm in charge of product. So thank you very much, and I look forward to your investment.
Thank you, Mark. So we'll now head into the Q&A section. So for those of you that have just joined, you can type in your questions in the chat or in the Q&A section below. So we do have one question from the chat. So Mark, can you please share more about the social impact at last mile deliveries?
Thank you very much. So in terms of social impact, The fact that most of these riders do not own the motorcycles mean then that they spend most of their money giving it back to the owners where they're renting. So they don't save a lot. And if they're not saving a lot, that also then means that they're not being included in the financial literacy space. And then that also denies them a chance to have a permanent employment. When they own this bike now, they have that aspect of permanent employment. And to those riders who use these bikes to carry fresh foods from the villages or the farms, they reduce the farm waste and hence increase on the earnings of the farmers. So there's that great impact. And then right now, we're also talking with Fika Mobility. We've signed an agreement with him for electric vehicles. Now this will reduce the emissions to a very large extent and also increase the savings. It will increase the savings to the riders to reduce their cost of maintenance and fuel by up to 50% and then increase the savings that they make. So, thank you.
Any more questions, everyone?
Mark, I know you touched on it a little bit, but I was wondering, can you just maybe hit it again in terms of the customer acquisition strategy and lead that into where the potential is as you expand? So, everybody on this call today is looking for exponential growth, right? Can you talk a little bit about that for your next 9 to 12 months?
Exactly. Thank you very much for that. So on one side, we are focusing only on acquiring the customer who is pre-due diligence to reduce our risk of losing capital. And that's why we are going to 2 categories of people. One, you must be a rider who is already in a group, an association. And most of them are in those associations. And the way that we have collected and gotten this initial wait list of up to 10,000 riders is through the associations. The associations in the stages and also the national associations, and also working through the county governments and the politicians, connecting us to these young people who are riding. But then also now a new opportunity for us is by doing third-party logistics management. And we were approached by Glovo. We didn't approach them, they came to us. And then it's opened opportunities now for us now to also go to other delivery companies and offer them the bike and the rider together with the smartphone. And then they pay us a flat fee end of month. And we handle everything on the side of the bike. It's an amazing deal for us. So it will lead to a lot of growth. But also on the other side, all the other competitors combined in the right-to-own space do not even have more than 100,000 units, yet the market is 1.4 million units. So it means there's a big chance to grow. And I think mainly is also because most of them are not focused on just the border, the motorcycle. The leader is also in other areas like, boat engines, and the other ones are also in car leasing. So we are only the ones who are focused on just one thing, the motorcycle rider. So this will give us a lot of growth as we go forward.
Great, thank you, Mark.
All right, so we have some questions coming in. So the first question asks, have you considered rider safety? So possibly considering quality of vehicles, offering rider insurance and so on.
So now that's a very great question. Actually, if you were to go around and look at the places where they park these bikes which are arrested or grabbed by the policemen, you find that very few of them are branded bikes. Most of them are just regular bikes. When the bikes are branded, when the owners have an interest, the riders have an ownership interest, they become very careful and they are hardly in those accidents. And also when they are branded, they become very disciplined. So that addresses the first part, but also we train the riders, and there's a premium. If you cause a reckless accident, then that is a ground for breaching the contract and taking over the bike and giving it to someone else. So we are very strict on that. That's the price we've had in our piloting phase. So we are very strict on that in terms of the rider safety. But again, we're dealing with riders who've been riding, so they're not just beginning. And again, the value-added services we are offering them, like the NHIF, the national insurance, that we give them the loan of $5 in the beginning, and then they pay slowly. All these things create a stickiness to the company and the brand and the culture, and make them want to behave in a given way to continue enjoying these benefits. Thank you.
And an add-on question to the safety topic, how do you manage negligence on driving rules by these drivers?
So in the contract, thank you for that question. In the contract, if they break any traffic rule, for instance, if they run the red light, we will pay the fine upfront so that the bike is not detained. But then that is a ground for breaching the contract and terminating. So they have to pay back with a penalty the amount that we paid for the fine. And if they do that thrice, then we terminate the contract with them completely. So we insist on being very disciplined, but also naturally they feel like they need to take care of their assets because they're going to own them in the long run. And then,
Awesome.
yes, go ahead.
Okay, awesome. And I think another piece of the safety topic, how do you handle rude and arrogant riders?
Yeah, so that's a good one. So we are running a business, so we are very serious. When we are doing business, we change our faces. We are not smiling. We are very focused. On one side, the person who comes to get our bike must be already known in the stage. So the stage chairperson is the first recommender. A family member is the second recommender. And then secondly, they have two guarantors, so that if they default, we have them and then two other people to go to. But third, during recollections, we also engage the police so that when we go, we can pick that bike without any violence when they see the presence of the uniformed police. And we've done this in the past. It's a common thing. There are people, that when they take credit, when they default, they become difficult. So we handle them.
Now moving on to more of the business model side. The question asks, given that the lifespan of a bike might be 10 years, how does the recurring revenue model work once you attract a new rider?
So for us, once the first rider goes out and let me just share the next phase which we are launching in the second quarter. So when we have you for the first time, we have you for 2 years until when you finish paying, and we earn from you $1,000. But after that, these other additional value-added services will keep you sticking with us. For instance, the lower cost of the buy now, pay later credit. For instance, the fact that if you get clients for mobility or logistics through us, you pay us only 5% commission as opposed to 15% commission. The fact that, in our platform, you can also make payments and build your credit profile. You can pay for electricity, you can pay for water and other utilities. So all these things create a stickiness to the brand, so that even after owning the bike, they'll still be with us to enjoy these other benefits which are very competitive.
Perfect. Another question asks about the roadmap of the product, and if you have considered potential for using green, perhaps solar powered motorcycles.
Yes, in the roadmap, as you saw again in the screen that we are sharing right now in front of you. So after the first quarter, in the second quarter, we've already secured a partnership with Fika Mobility, which offers the cheapest and also the best product so far in the market. We like their pricing, we like their model, and we like them. They're likable people also. They're easy to deal with. We tried reaching to others. We settled on Fika Mobility. So from the next quarter, we are going to also be bringing in electric vehicles, and this can be charged off the socket on the 240V sockets in the homes. So it becomes very efficient, and their duration is 100. Their distance is 100 kilometers, which is the average distance that also these other bikes face, and their pricing is around $1,500. It's just a difference of $100 to $150 from the gas, the ICE internal combustion engine motorcycles. So they're a good deal. We are willing to go with them. We are going to work with them. The pricing difference, it will lead to a lot of savings on our clients, the motorcycle riders.
The next question asks, who runs your pay-go model?
Yeah, we run it ourselves in-house. We have developed the technology. We have it. However, we have also integrated it with Monos API. Monos is a Nigerian company that offers us the ability to check credit and basically pre-rate those who are eligible for the buy now, pay later aspect. But others, we run that in-house.
Perfect, awesome. And an add-on question to that, let's say what happens if a rider does not pay? Do you repossess motorcycles?
Yes, so the contract states 3 things. One, if you don't pay for 3 consecutive days, we shall repossess the motorcycle. Or if you fail to pay intermittently, but the total comes to 1 week of payments due, we repossess the motorcycle. Because this is the only industry where they are earning every day. Immediately they ride out of their homes, they start earning. Remember, it offers 70% of public transportation and 95% of last mile delivery. So if they fail to remit, we take the bike, and it is easy to take the bikes because they are fitted with the GPS devices. They are tamper proof. If you just touch it, we know that you are touching it. And we ring fence with your fence the asset so that it can't leave a given city. And then, of course, on top of that also, if you decide to switch off and we can't find you, then you have the 2 guarantors, who one of them is permanently employed, who we can go to. Yes.
Perfect. One more question asks, is there a scope to supply a driver uniform or a jacket? They're suggesting it'd be a good way to advertise.
Yes, we are going to be giving, within this new fundraising, we are going to be doing that. We are going to be giving our drivers a specific blue identity. That identity is very important. It makes them to be more disciplined. It makes them to be recognized, brand visibility, and it also makes us to be able to track and see physically where our riders are. So yes, we are going to be giving uniforms, including the helmet.
Awesome. Another question, at what point will you be required to secure a lending license?
So that will be almost immediately. So part of the fundraising will be applied towards licensing procedure, both for hire purchase license and also for a lending license and digital lending license, where the regulations came just last month. So this part of the fundraise, it will cost us around, all the licenses will cost around 25,000 US. So this is part of the fundraise and the reason why we are going to be doing this. So we need to have it as soon as we raise the financing.
Have you considered incentivized or discounted parts, so people exchanging or swapping their bikes for upgrades to increase loyalty?
No, we haven't, but that's an interesting model. I think I'm going to have a chat with who asked that question. So I need to have a chat with that person. I think there is business to be done there, totally. And I think we can even go to the extent of purchasing the loans in other lenders who are not giving them other value-added services to bring them on board. So that's let me just know, that's a brilliant question. That's a great idea. Thank you very much for that.
For sure. And Sean, if you want to connect with Mark afterwards, we can definitely do that for you. Another question asks, how are you guys different from other providers of mobility, such as Bolt or Uber?
Oh, way different. Let's start from the perspective of the rider. The riders who are riding for Bolt or Uber today, they have to pay a commission of up to 10 to 15%. So for us, they'll be paying 5%, and hence there'll be a big savings for them. Secondly, if they're in the Bolt platform and they want to buy airtime or data, they have to get out of the app and do it elsewhere. For us, that is within the app. Third, Bolt and Uber and the rest do not offer them any access to credit. So if they wanted urgently to fuel their motorcycle, they'll be stuck. If they wanted that with us, they can access our $30 a day line of credit, and then they can go and fuel, and when they receive the money, they pay us over 60 days. So that credit runs for 60 days. And that's just a few of them. There are other benefits, for instance, the National Health Insurance Scheme, which is $5 a month. We are going to be giving them that as a loan, and they pay it later. And then a partnership with the discounted fuel. Also, Bolt and Uber do not offer that. We're having a chat with the leading petrol companies. So we are going to be offering that amongst other benefits, because we're building an ecosystem. We'll be having other benefits. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So regarding time, we're going to take these last 2 questions. So the first question asks, have you considered possibilities of how a regulation from the government to ban bikes in the CBD could affect your business?
Yes, we have. Actually, almost all the cities that have border borders have these regulations already in place. The CBD, they don't allow motorbikes, but it hasn't really affected business because there's a lot of movement in between the residential areas as opposed to into the CBD. So even with that ban, there's still a booming business, and that ban will only affect a small portion of the CBD because the motorbikes, on one side, there's a political element to it. They're very loud in terms of voting, so they're usually saved on that. But on the other side, they are contributing effectively to last mile delivery and also to the transportation. So there's business on both areas. So the regulations to lock them out of one place will not adversely affect our business.
Perfect. And last question asks, what happens if a rider gets injured and can't work for a few days and hence can't pay?
Oh, that's a good question. So the current policy we have is that immediately you get sick, the bike has to be brought to the office. You can't stay with the bike. So we have to know that no, the bike is coming at the office, and don't give it to another rider to do business with it, to rent it from you. So that's one. Number two, we are offering what is called an extended comprehensive cover, which also covers injury if the rider gets injured. And one other thing that we're offering as a value-added service, which no one else is offering, is a group life cover, so that in case of a loss of limb, the rider has access to a benefit, an insurance benefit. Again, no one else in the market is offering that. And it is pretty affordable, by the way. It is around $18, for the year. So it's a micro cover, it's pretty affordable, it's doable. We have one supervisor for every 25 riders. So they're always out there supervising the 25 riders. So in case there is any lack of business, the bikes are picked and brought to us, and then the rider can take care of themselves. But now with also our offer for the health insurance, which no one else is offering again in the market, then our riders will be socially very well protected. If you're sick, you can go to hospital and you get well, and then you come back and work.
Perfect. Well, thank you, Mark. That concludes the Q&A. If anyone has any more questions for Araka, please email LabEight and we'll connect you to the founders. Well, that wraps up our startup pitches. So founders, thank you so much for delivering your pitches today, and congratulations on all the progress you've made throughout the 3-4 months. To the attendees, thank you for joining us. Our guest speakers, Dr. Shante Williams and Frederick, thank you again. Please feel free to contact us. I'll give the floor to any of our partners that want to say the last few words.
I'd love to say something. We've had an amazing 2 years. It all started with a conversation, Jason, Joy, Emmanuel, myself, less than 2 years ago. And we're talking about gaps and challenges and problems in the ecosystem, and how our expertise, how we can solve some of these problems and do them differently. We didn't like the way things have been done. We're all founders. We wanted to treat it the way a founder would want their accelerator program or their partner to help them. So we focused on that. We focused on personalizing things, the curriculum for the founders to help them with everything that they need. And it's kind of unreal where we are now. 3 cohorts later, we're very excited. We've got a lot of things going on in the future. Stay connected. Connect with us, email us if you're interested in any of the programs in the investment syndicate. If you're interested in anything else, if you got any ideas, just drop them across and we'd love to chat. If you're a founder and you're interested in the program, follow us. We'll add some announcements later on in the next couple of weeks on the next program and when you could apply for that one. Founders, you did a fantastic job. I'm sitting here proud of everything that we've done. Just a big clap for everyone, a round of applause, and can't wait to continue working with you all.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Well, that concludes
the wrap then.
Yep. You can email us at hello@labeight.tech for any inquiries, for any potential investors. We have investment syndicate info in the Google Forms link in the chat for your review.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, Elijah. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.
Joy, why didn't you ask a question?
Mark, I asked you seven. I think you were the only fund I asked questions to. I asked you. I gave you.
Oh, you typed the question.
Yeah. 3 of the questions were Joyce, or 2 or 3 of the questions, yeah.
Okay. Please connect me to the one who asked that question about parts.
We'll do, actually. We'll do.
They actually shared their email, and we'll be sharing the information with you.